Welcome back to Arcturian Philosophy, here with me, Krista. First, I would like to thank the person who donated 33 cents to me. I got the joke. That's pretty funny. So thank you very much. And also to everyone who has contributed in any way that they can. Again, the way to donate to Arcturian Philosophy is to put in the email address arcturianphilosophy@gmail.com on PayPal, and that is how you donate. You can also send me things like crystals or spare items that you're not using. I ended up having to move, basically, which is partly what I discussed in the other video when I was out by the cemetery. So anything that can help me settle in this new location would be better thing to ask for. Now, in this episode, what I will be talking about is time and time travel. What most of us don't know, this is part of what I started to talk about in the park. What most of us don't know is that we can use our minds to time travel, and this actually affects the past and the future. You see, everything is now. So if everything is happening now, that means your past is happening now, and the probable potentials for your future are happening now. So if that follows through, then that means that you can go back in your mind to places in the past and change things that have occurred. Basically, you create a new memory of whatever happened in this scenario, and that begins to alter your life in the present, because all we have is the present. Time is the movement of thought. Remember that time is the movement of thought. So when you are thinking, your frequency is expanding outward, moving outward. That is our perception of time. Now you might be thinking, well, how can time, not really exist since the sun comes up and goes down? Well, the idea is, so what? What happened was we decided to create constructs in order to accommodate for those things, in order to make life easier for ourselves. But now it seems like that's become a bit of a detriment to our lives, and it's important that we start to understand that everything exists now. So what you can do is you go into a meditative state, and this works best at first for things that have been traumatic. So think of a traumatic event in your life. Then in your meditative state, go back as the present you to talk with the you from the past. And now what gets really interesting is after you've done this for a while, you will begin to get messages from yourself from the future saying, "Hi, it's you from the future. I'm here to tell you this," which is what started happening to me after I was exposed to the Zeta Reticuli technology, which was very strange indeed, but several of the things have come true that I told myself was going to happen. So what you do is you focus on the event and you imagine it happening as you would want it to happen. So, for example, for me, one traumatic event was being held down and given injections. This was by humans. Not exactly humans in corporeal body, but not exactly in spirit, I don't believe. And what I ended up doing spontaneously while I was sitting and meditating in the park was going backwards in time to the girl who was crying and being held down. I wasn't resisting them, by the way. I wasn't resisting. I wasn't fighting. I was just crying at the situation that this was happening to me, and I imagined going to myself, holding my hand, and telling myself, "Do you know that these shots are going to wear off of you, and that you're going to be free out in the town where you want to be?" And doing that, because everything is happening now, we could say that traumatic event of mine was happening now. That right now I'm staring into a computer talking, that's happening now. We could say that I'm at a doctor's appointment, that's happening now. All of these different things, this is how the past and the present and the future mix together, because they're all actually happening now, and this is how we can predict things that will happen in the future based on probability of what's happened in the past, which is really other versions of now, to predict further versions of now, which would be the future. So remember that everything is now. That is why you are able to time travel using your mind. So remember, imagine a situation that you would want to go back to. Now, there are certain times when I was doing this where you have to make the situation believable in order for it to work. This is all about your belief. Remember, it's all BS, belief systems. It has to be believable. So during one critical point in my life where I made a mistake, I went back to myself and I did something to disguise who I was, or something to kind of erase the memory of it. And I asked myself, "Hi, why are you doing these things that you're doing? What are you feeling? What is causing you to behave this way?" Trying to ask myself these very things so that I could get down to the bottom of what had happened to me when I was younger. And I was surprised by the different answers that I received, and because of those answers, I could see how different parts of my timeline simply began to reassemble themselves, changing that memory and changing that one decision that I had made. So we have the ability to do this, and the best way to get good at it is to practice. So practice with some kind of event like this, and you want to really feel yourself going back to the younger you. And remember, water raises your vibration, so sometimes this works better in a bathtub, I've noticed. If anyone's heard of bathtub time travel physics, well, that's what that is, I believe, personally, because I've noticed of how much better it works in a bathtub exposed to water. Bathtub time travel physics, I believe that's not really a joke. Eventually then begin to listen, and you may end up receiving messages from yourself from the future, where there isn't any beating around the bush, where you can simply say to yourself, this is you from the future, because you know about that kind of thing. It's not like, say, going back to you as a teenager, who, if you just said, "Hi, I'm you from the future," you would have said what? Based on the different belief systems that we had back then. So you might experience yourself coming back to you saying, "Hi, it's you from the future, and I'm here to tell you this, this, and this, and this, and this." So remember that we have these capabilities within our minds, and we I'll simply need to unlock them. So I will leave you with that on Arcturian philosophy, and happy time traveling.